All right, all right. What's going on, party people? This your man Griff. All right, real quick. I really am not going to be up here that long. As you see, the title talks about the art of notarization series, backdating your notarization. The straight up answer is no, 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 no. Do not do it. These title companies, some of the signing companies, maybe even lenders will try to guilt trip you into doing it. Okay. Yes, I'm hopping straight into this. I'm not beating around the bush, no pleasantries and all of that. The bottom line is do not do it. Okay. Now, you do not have to spend a whole bunch of money to figure out and find out why you shouldn't do it. You can, common sense tells you you shouldn't, because the whole purpose of a notary is simply this: we witness the person's signature. Well, when did you witness their signature? On that particular date. Then that's when you fill out your notarization. Now, here's what the situation is in most cases. Somewhere along the line, the deed got messed up, the mortgage got messed up, they didn't get sent to in a closing package, because that can happen. And nonetheless, they want you to re-sign, have them sign the mortgage or the deed, but the closing originally happened 2 or 3 days ago, or even a week or so ago. And now they want you to meet with them, have them sign the deed or the mortgage, but they want you to put the date that it originally happened, primarily because the seller is most of the time. This is when they with sellers and seller package, but in no package can you do it with, even if it's a refi. The issue is that when you're selling a property, the seller has to sign the deed first or the mortgage. They got to sell that first, then the buyer. The buyer can't buy something that's not sold. Buyer can't, if their state laws require them to sign a deed, they can't sign until they what? Have it sold. And the person who sells it is the seller, and they got to sign it first. That's really what it boils down to. So cutting straight to the chase, here's what I did: was I went to Chat GPT as well as Gemini, and we're gonna go to Gemini first, and you can see it for yourself. If you call the NNA or any reputable notary association, they should tell you you do not backdate the documents. Backdating basically is you dating, putting, if today is the 20th, you're dating for a previous date, as if you met them and it was done on that date, when in all actuality it wasn't. That is illegal. In the story. If you're dealing with a signing company that's asking you to do that, tell them to kick rocks. If you're dealing with a title company that's asking you to do that, tell them to kick rocks, because they can't prove to you. They got to show you some legal proof that you're allowed to do that in accordance with your state law, and I guarantee you they can't. And they will try to guilt trip you, like, well, it's gonna mess up everything, and the documents and the money, and then the people can't buy the house, and they would try to make you feel bad, like you did something wrong, unless you did do something wrong for us. You know, didn't get it signed, it was your fault and it was in the package. But a lot of times there's issues where for some reason the deed wasn't in the package. So when you're doing a seller's, if you do not see a deed, warranty deed, specialty deed, or something, or even a mortgage in the closing package, when you're meeting with the sellers, get on the phone and call somebody immediately and make sure that you find out what the heck is going on. Okay. Case in point, I did a closing today. It did not have um it had the warrant, the specialty deed, but it only had the first page. They said they're going to have the rest of it tomorrow. Okay, I won't be there. Somebody else will take care of that. But that's what they told me. So we knew that up front, because when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute. There's only one page. Got the first page of the special, the warranty deed or specialty deed, whatever they call. And I was like, where's the rest of it? It's just instinctive to me now. Where's the rest of it? Oh, that'll be taken care of tomorrow. Just leave. Hey, babe. Just leave that with them. Okay, cool. So let's go to this real quick, 'cause I got to go to bed because I'm tired. So right here, can the buyer of a house sign the deed before the seller? Generally, no. The buyer cannot sell before the seller. The buyer cannot sell before the seller. The deed is a legal document that transfers ownership of the property from the seller to the buyer. It is crucial. It's a crucial component The closing process for the transfer of ownership to be valid, the seller must sign a deed indicating their willingness to transfer title to the property. Here's why it matters. Legal validity. The seller's signature on the deed is essential to establish valid transfer of title insurance, recording, all of that. You can go to Gemini and type it in yourself. All right. While there might be specific circumstances or jurisdictions where exceptions apply, and it's generally safe to assume the seller must sign the deed before the buyer. If you have specific questions about your real estate transaction, it's best to consult with an attorney. Dot 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 dot. Here's Chat GPT. Um, in a typical real estate transaction, the seller usually signs the deed before the buyer. This is because the deed represents the transfer of ownership from the seller to the buyer. It is a general over. Here's a general overview. The seller signs the deed. The seller signs the deed to officially transfer ownership of the property. This is a critical step as it signifies the seller's intent to transfer the interest in the property. Buyer's role: buyer usually does not sign the deed. Instead, the buyer typically receives a signed deed once it has been executed by the seller. The buyer's role is to review the signed documents related to the mortgage. Dot dot dot. Recording of the deed after the seller has signed the deed is usually recorded with the local government office and all of that. Okay. So now let's go to backdating. Can a notary backdate their notarization? No, a notary public cannot backdate their notarizations. Notarizations should always reflect the actual date when the notarial act was performed. Backdating or altering the date on a notarization to reflect a date prior to the actual notarization is considered unethical and illegal in most jurisdictions. Here are a few key points. Integrity of the process. The date of the notarization document should actually reflect when the notary performed their duties, which includes verifying the signer's identity and witnessing their signature. Legal implications. Backdating a notarization can lead to legal consequences for both the notaries and parties involved. It could invalidate the notarization and lead to potential legal disputes and accusations of fraud. Proper procedures. If there's a need for the document to reflect a different date, it should be handled through proper channels, such as correcting or amending the document in accordance with applicable laws and procedures rather than through dishonest practices like backdating. Okay, so what does Gemini say? No, notary cannot backdate their notarization. Okay, that's the question that I asked, same question. Backdating notarization is serious ethical and legal violation. It involves falsely dating the document, stating that stating the date a document was signed and notarized. This can have significant consequences: loss of commission, loss, legal penalties, and validation of documents. Primary purpose of a notice to verify the authenticity of a signature and ensure the signers is actually acting on their own free will. Backdating and notarization undermines the process and can have serious repercussions. If you need a document notarized, it is important to ensure that the notary is acting ethically and legally. You can ask for their commission number to verify within your secretary, state secretary of state's office. Okay, so that's it. That's it. Okay, you can't do it. Search it for yourself. If you're unwilling to, then it is what it is. You don't need to be paying somebody and hopping in different Zooms. And do we? The answer is no. It's that simple. And if you want to do it, then you go ahead on and do it. But the answer is no, you should not be doing it. Don't call me asking me. Well, somebody called me and asked me because they wasn't sure. That's different. But if you see this video, do not call and ask me. And I've said this before, we're not supposed to do it. Most notaries know we're not supposed to do it, but we're not supposed to do it. Okay. I know there's a few notaries that probably won't see this video, and if they call and ask me, okay, yes, I'm gonna handle it and take care of them, and I'm just gonna refer them to this video. That's part of the reason also why I'm doing it. Okay. But a good friend of mine, she notary, she asked, and she had a feeling. She said, I remember you saying we couldn't do it, but she just wanted to double check. So this video isn't, aimed at her or anything of that nature. It's just in general, overall. Um, because I've never done a specific dedicated video for this subject. So now I'm doing one. So You got any questions? Contact the NNA. Okay. Contact your local state people as well as a real estate attorney and all of that. But you can clearly see not supposed to be backdating. It's illegal. All right. Y'all have a good one. I'm going to bed because I got to get up real early in the morning. Son got to be to work at 3:15 in the morning for some forklift training. And I got to go to bed. I had 4 closings a day. I got 3 or 4 tomorrow. So I'm still pushing, tugging, and all that good stuff. All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.